Hi, my name is Sarah Chapman. I am a recent graduate of Ecole St. Patrick High School, and I've been a YCS student since kindergarten. So if you've taught at St. Joe's or St. Pat's between the years of 2007 and 2020, then we've likely crossed paths in one way or another. And today, I would love to talk to you a little bit on bringing anti-racism into our classroom. Now, I'm sure you're all watching the news and are aware of what's happening in the world, but allow me to sum it up. In light of George Floyd's murder at the hands of 4 Minneapolis police officers, protests have begun across the United States and around the world, fighting against police brutality and for the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, if you're unaware of the Black Lives Matter movement, then I highly recommend researching it and looking into its history, its motives, and its beliefs. But in brief, it is a movement fighting against white supremacy and against violence towards the Black community. And these protests that are happening are long overdue, and it must be clear that they're fighting for equality in our society. And just a couple weeks ago, Yellowknife held their own Black Lives Matter protest, and I truly hope that each and every one of you either supported or participated in this march. But it must be stated that fighting against white supremacy does not stop after just one march. This must be something that is implemented into each and every one of our lives. And if you are a white individual, then you must be educating yourself on these matters and using your voice to help the silenced. I have spoken to Superintendent Simone Gessler and Assistant Superintendent Pat Sullivan on the importance of bringing Black history into our classrooms and building an anti-racist learning environment, but now I want to speak directly to the teachers. It is now on you as our next generation's educators to start building an anti-racist learning environment, and allow me to help. So my first tip is to acknowledge our entire history. Canada has a habit of trying to hide the bad parts of our history from our people, but this is incredibly damaging to do. And when teaching students about the past, you must not hide, ignore, or sugarcoat the problematic parts of our history. We need to acknowledge that although there were very many good things that happened and very many good leaders, there were also very many horrible things and horrible leaders. For example, Sir John A. Macdonald. Although he was our first Prime Minister and he did sign Confederation and help form Canada into the country that it is today, he also did try to eradicate the entire Indigenous population. There's no denying that he did great things, but he also did very many horrible things. And when teaching our students, we must give them the full truth and give them a well-rounded education that doesn't hide them from the truth. Because although it's horrible that Canada has a very racist past, it's still the truth. And the first step to reparations is acknowledging that what we did was wrong and teaching that to our students so that history doesn't repeat itself. So my second tip is to bring representation and diversity into your classroom. Now this is one of the simplest ways to build an anti-racist and diverse learning environment. And it may not seem like much, but it does more than you think. Representation is so important to young children. It helps battle racial stereotypes, it opens them up to the diverse cultures around them, and kids seeing themselves represented in media does wonders for their self-esteem. So as teachers, you should be finding books with people of color as the main characters and showing films in your classrooms with diverse and well-rounded casts. And in the meantime, look over the books and films that you're currently teaching. And if you can only find a handful of non-white main characters, then you know that it's time for a change. And change shouldn't be something that you're afraid of. It's something that should be exciting to you. Because diversity is something that should be celebrated. Because Canada prides itself on multiculturalism, and your classroom should mirror that too. Now this tip is probably the most important one of the video. Creating a diverse and anti-racist classroom is going to take plenty of time and hard work on your behalf, but I hope that you're as passionate about this as I am. What you need to do right now is take a step back and broaden your perspective. Start researching and educating yourself on Black Lives Matter, on Canadian Black history, on what defunding the police means, on the importance of having Black, Indigenous, and people of color histories taught in our classrooms, because these are the topics that kids are going to want to learn about after today. I saw so many young kids at the protest with their homemade crayon Black Lives Matter signs, smiling from ear to ear because they were participating in their community, but they probably don't fully understand the weight of this movement and what it means in Canada and across the world. And they're going to have questions about it. And it's on you to teach them about it and be their guiding light for this. But before any of that can happen, you must educate yourself on this matter. And finally, get creative with your approach. Students can easily tell when a teacher isn't interested in what they're teaching, and it makes students disinterested as well. So find new and exciting ways to bring this into your classroom. It doesn't just have to be watching Black films or giving lectures on Harriet Tubman. You can be playing music by Black artists. You can be showcasing art made by Black, Indigenous, and other people of color creators. You can be making Black History Month a celebration in your classroom. There are so many ways that you can make a change for the better here, but the first thing that you need to do is want to make a change. And remember that you're either racist or anti-racist. There's no neutral in this situation. And staying silent in times of injustice is choosing the side of the oppressor. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, I just want to give a big thank you to you for hearing me out and letting me speak about this topic, and I hope that I've inspired you in any kind of way to want to make a change in your classroom and build a truly anti-racist and diverse learning environment, because I feel as if it's one of the most important things that we can do in today's day and age. Thank you for your time.